All right, closer to home, in our first half hour, we took a look at Iowa politics. Now we're crossing the river into Illinois. While Illinois has not reached the same funnel deadline that Iowa has yet, there's still plenty of movement on all sorts of bills. So here to help us make sense of all of it is Ben Zielinski, State House reporter for Capitol News, Illinois and Springfield. Ben, thank you for being back with us.
Hi, Shelby.
All right, let us start with some education bills that are really picking up some steam. But first, let's talk about homeschooling. What does it take to homeschool your child in Illinois right now?
The answer to that probably depends on every parent that you ask. The reason for that is because Illinois is one of just a few states that doesn't really have any regulation on homeschooling. There's no real recording of who is homeschooled and what exactly they're doing when they are homeschooled. There's not like specific lesson plans that the state mandates that parents follow when they're homeschooling children. So Illinois lawmakers are looking at making some changes to get some answers to what exactly people are doing when they are homeschooled.
I mean, Ben, there's not even really records of which students are being homeschooled in which grades in which area of the state. So what do lawmakers want to change with this new bill?
Essentially, they're looking for an accounting of this, and this bill that has been introduced by a Chicago area Democrat would basically require families that choose to homeschool their children, they would be required to notify the local school districts if their children are staying home. So this would basically give the state a way to see who is being homeschooled so they know exactly which students are gone. Truancy is a big problem for a lot of these areas, and this is kind of one of the ways that lawmakers think this will get kind of a handle on truancy and who's actually skipping school versus who is being homeschooled. So this bill would create an accounting of that. And if there are concerns that the school districts or officials may have about if a student is actually learning the appropriate material, parents could be required to provide the instructional material that they are using at home if there are concerns that the students aren't receiving the correct education.
I know there are concerns on the other side of this bill. I'm thinking of Illinois lawmaker Travis Weaver. He covers Knox County. He's against this. What are opponents saying on the other side?
Yeah, there was a lot of parents who came to the Illinois Capitol back on Thursday to advocate against this bill. And Republicans like Representative Weaver and these parents, they're saying that this is basically just more overregulation. And one reason a lot of people decide to homeschool their children is because they're trying to avoid some of the the regulated curriculum that is in schools, and they want to have more freedom in the education that they give their children. So they view this as kind of a way that the state could be stepping on parents' toes and stepping into how parents choose to homeschool their children because the state normally isn't actually involved in this process and parents like it that way.
Well, sticking with education, Illinois is now proposing a cell phone ban in classrooms. For our viewers, it's similar to what Iowa is trying to pass right now as well. So what does the Illinois bill say?
Yeah, Governor J.B. Pritzker, in his State of the State address last month, he proposed that Illinois prevent students from using their cell phones during classroom instruction. So, under the governor's plan, there wouldn't really be any ban on students using it in hallways or during lunchtime. He's really trying to crack down on students who might be distracted in class. They should be paying attention to the lesson, and in reality, they're on their phone at their desk. So, his plan would ban it during classroom instruction. There's lots of exemptions in there, such as for emergencies or health needs that require a student to have their phone with them and potentially use it during class. So he's really trying to find a balance between the distracting aspect of using phones in class versus potentially the necessary need to have your phone available in the classroom.
All right, and quickly switching away from education, let's turn to food programs. Last week, Illinois said it was missing nearly $18 million in federal funding when it comes to food programs. What's going on here? Where was that money supposed to go?
Yeah, the state has been involved in this program with the U.S. Department of Agriculture that provides funding for an Illinois program that essentially it takes fresh food from Illinois farms and it provides them to food banks, food pantries, other community distribution centers for where people get food. And this has been a really important program in a lot of areas that are food deserts or people are on SNAP, for example. And this is a way that provides fresh food to people, but the federal government has decided that they are not going to reimburse states for the costs associated with this program since Donald Trump took office back on January 20th. So the state is out $18 million that it submitted to the federal government for reimbursement, but is not going to be getting that funding back, which has caused the state of Illinois to decide that they must discontinue this program because there is no funding mechanism for this program that provides a lot of fresh food to people in need throughout the state.
Yeah, certainly a big impact. Ben, as always, thank you so much for your expertise and for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
You guys, as always, can check out the incredible reporting from Ben and the whole Capital News Illinois team by heading over to WQAD.com and clicking on the As Seen on TV tab.